you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and welcoming you into a new year. Once again, we're bringing you Leadership Live to really help you gain more perspective and knowledge so that you can be a better business person and be more successful with your business. That's really what it's all about. A new year brings new possibilities, new challenges, but also new opportunities. So we're going to talk about, how do you face these challenges? How do you find the opportunities and take advantage of them? So this year, I made a pledge to make my year 2020 the best year ever. And I invite you also to join me in making our year 2022 the best year ever. So I'm looking forward to growing with you, increasing our level of success, and really helping each other move to the next level. So kicking the year off, it's important to have the right message. It's important to have the best business plan and strategy possible. And that's what we're going to talk about today because, at the end of the day, failing to plan is planning to fail. But also, it's more than just developing the plan. It needs to be a good plan, and it needs to be something that you can implement successfully. So we've got a great guest. But let me just say, Happy New Year. Excited about 2022. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed the holidays, got a chance to rest, got a chance to think about your coming year, 2022 new things. So you see I'm here. Also have a new chair for 2022. I'm home all the time. It's great to actually have a gaming chair from Main Gear. One of the companies I do work with, super comfortable. So if you're home all the time, think about getting something, upgrading. Always nice to do something like that. So enough of that. Tonight, our guest is Jimmy Newson, the Impact Influencer. And we're really going to talk about how can you compete more successfully in 2022 with your business. So let me welcome him here. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm excellent. So it's great to have you. Always love hanging out with you. Always learn things from you. And you're doing great stuff. And definitely, a big fan and supporter. And you've always been supportive of what I'm doing as well. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share some of your expertise on the show. I think this is going to be extremely valuable. Some people may know you, some people may not, but Jimmy's a leading person in the digital media space, and especially he doing it the right way. And doing it the right way is understanding what you're doing, analyzing what you're doing, using what you're doing to make better business decisions. So Jimmy, take a minute, just introduce yourself, tell a little bit more about, where you started, how you got to where you are now.
Sure. Yeah. So, my background is actually started in the music industry. But even if I go before that, I was actually a candy salesman at the ripe age of about 12, 13 years old. Because hey, Karen, how are you? It's good to see you on here. So I was making my dough, selling candy at second period. So I had that entrepreneur spirit. The thing is, back then, we're talking 80 83, 84, 85, 1983, 84, 85. I didn't know that was entrepreneurship. I didn't, no one ever told me about that. So I was doing things that without a label. Um, Fast forward, I got into the music industry, and in the music industry, I think what people fail to realize is no matter what industry you're in, um, the key is you got to figure out a way to make money. And in the music industry, it was all about dreams, and nobody really wanted to look like they were trying to make money because then you were kind of a sellout. But I remember when we had our first CD single, and someone was gave me $5 for it, and it changed everything because I was like, wait a minute, I can actually make money. I wasn't doing this because I wanted to be a performer. And a little bit later, I ended up coming out of the music industry because I needed a stronger system. I needed a better way to make money, predictable. And so I went into corporate, and I started doing things I did in the music industry and in the corporate world, like video production, audio production. Because at that time I realized, and this was like now 2010, that content is king, or content is queen. And the problem I saw with my clients was, as I would create this great content for them, I go back to try to sell more uh, content production, and they would be like, "No, we're good," and because the content that was great, but it didn't really do much for us. And I'm like, "Well, what did you do with the content?" And they're like, "Yeah, well, we put it on YouTube, and a month and 2 months later, we have three views." I'm like, "Well, how did you market with the video? How did you leverage the video?" And they're like, "Huh? What?" And I'm like, so a lot of my clients, I saw they didn't have any strategy around the content that was being created for them professionally. So you're paying a lot of money for this content. You can't put, and it's the same thing in the music industry. We put all our money into the producing the record, and we leave no money for marketing and promotion. And I think a lot of businesses do that. They put all their time and energy into the product and service, and just forget about marketing, and forget about how do we create buzz and something that drives people to the product so we can sell the product. So that brings me now to here, where now my newest venture is moving forward small business, which is, our vision is to save 1 million businesses from failure by the year 2050. And it's really built on the three pillars: strategy, innovation, and technology. Because if it wasn't for technology, um, I would not be who I am, and I would not be where I am at this point. So I see a lot of hellos. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure. Please all connect with me on LinkedIn. Andrew, I turn it back over to you. I hope I answered the question.
Excellent. Thanks, Jimmy. So once again, it's good to have you here. We're talking about, really 2022. What do we do? How do we compete more effectively?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're coming into 22 with even more uncertainty than we came into 2021.
Right.
At the end
Oh,
of the
yeah.
year, we felt that things were going to be better as far as COVID, and we could just get back to normal or more normal. And it seems like it's getting worse. However, it's supposed to get better. So how do you navigate in this situation? What should you do? What shouldn't we be doing when we're thinking about 2022?
Sure. Well, I'm a big fan of, let's not recreate the wheel. And if we look at that as the premise that we're not going to recreate the wheel, um, what happens is you have to realize that someone's winning and someone's losing. And so at the end of the day, I'm talking about competitive analysis, competitive research, because we do have, unfortunately, if you look at, I'll reiterate what you said, here we go, here we thought a month or so ago we were coming out, everything is opening back up. Now things are kind of shut down, not really sure here in the U.S. Across outside of the country, you got certain countries that are going back into lockdown, and what we have to realize is we made it through up to this point. Unfortunately, we did lose a lot of small businesses that couldn't survive, but there were definitely a lot of businesses that actually thrived. They were either already positioned to be successful because of the digital aspect of their business, or they were able to immediately adapt quickly and do things. And, as a consumer, I wasn't a big fan of ordering on Amazon. I wanted to go to the store and get my stuff and bring it home. Now I prefer, because I've gotten used to it, to order stuff on Amazon. I ordered all my daughter's Christmas presents, birthday presents. I don't have to go and the hassle of forget about just getting out of the house, but I don't even have to go to a store just to find out they don't have it, and then have to drive to two more stores to either find it or still realize that we don't have it. Now I got to figure out another solution. I could do everything online. I order food online. I used to, with Uber Eats, I would order dinner, but now there's this other app called Instacart. I order groceries. I never would have done that a year ago, but it has made my life easier. They making their money, and it may cost me just a little bit more, but I get the freedom to focus on things that are more important to me. And that's what every business has to do in regards to going, moving forward, whether we go back into lockdown or not. I have to have a dual strategy, an online and an offline strategy. Is some are easier to construct than others, but I think it's doable in most cases. And so it just takes a little bit of thought and some time to go, what could I do that would make it, easy? And then of course, on top of that, now you have to be found. So then that's when the digital marketing stuff comes in. So for me, as I look at what's going on right now in 2022, one of the big things I'm going through is a financial raise for my new organization. And I have to do a business plan. And one of the biggest components of my business plan that I realized is a competitive analysis. Why? Because a competitive analysis tells me where I'm strong, where I'm weak, where I have opportunities, and where there are threats. Your typical SWOT analysis. And when you start to look at all these things, what you thought might have worked before, you realize through actually analyzing the landscape may not work. But then you also start to uncover things that actually may work even better. And that gets me extremely excited. And that's what I think is the secret sauce for 2022. The secret sauce is you need to analyze the landscape, because over the last 18 to 24 months, everything has changed for every business on this planet. So now you need to analyze, where am I now? Where am I winning? And where am I losing? And when I know those three things, now I can make more of a structured plan to go, where am I losing and how can I fix that? Where am I winning and how can I keep that going? And in relationship to competitors who are doing better than you and those that you may be doing better than.
Excellent. So no, definitely you covered some key things. So I just want to highlight.
Okay.
Number one, analysis.
Data.
Businesses don't use a lot of analysis and are making decisions based on very incomplete information, and many times not that accurate of information. So, the first piece is an analysis requires numbers. Just in case anybody's wondering. So if you don't include numbers, then you're not really fully doing analysis. But that, you gave a great example of why you have a business plan. It's not just to have a plan. It's so that you can model your business and you can say, okay, I want to do this, this, and this, and I think this is going to happen. And the question is, do you want what's going to happen? Because when you calculate it out, it may be different than what you thought it would be. And number two, what's the likelihood of it happening, and is there a better way? But if you never do that and you never write it down, you can't improve upon it. So you're just going out there blind. So definitely the business plan piece, and combination of digital and non-digital is key. And understanding where you are, what's going on around you, and then also not just that, but looking at what are the trends? Are some of them temporary? Are they permanent? Which ones? And, at the end of the day, you really break business down into all it is selling something of value that someone's willing to pay you more for than it costs you to deliver it to them.
Yep.
So sometimes you just got to go back to the essence of what things are. So, we're talking about analysis. Everybody's like, okay, well, you're telling us to do analysis. I've never done it before. So how do I do it? And it seems overwhelming. How do I do it in a way that's fairly simple and that I can, understand what I'm doing and can do it within a reasonable amount of time? So talk a little bit about what analysis is and how you do it.
Let me get me back up. There we go. Analysis is at the end of the day, it starts with you. So let's kind of do a little bit of a process. Step number one is you have to be extremely clear on who you are, why you exist, and I'm talking about you as the maybe one of the key players in the organization, but more important, the organization. The organization itself is a player. It's it should have its own purpose, its own mission, its own vision. And when you're extremely clear on those three things, then it's easier now to go, all right, now that I know who I am, now I can figure out what do I need to analyze to figure out how I can make this situation with my business and with me even as a principal effective, and making sure you're classifying yourself properly, and I say this because some people don't really classify themselves in the right categories sometimes, especially when you start to mix categories. A prime example, I'll use myself as example. My organization is it's a membership site, but it's also almost like a chamber, but it's also like a Forbes magazine, like a media platform. So I'm merging all of these into one. And now what do I classify myself as? So I can figure out who is my true competition, and when you're able to do that, you're able to, you go, well, who am I most likely like? And who is taking money from me? Who has the opportunity to take a sale away from me? Now I can go, okay, then that's a potential competitor. Now I look at competitors from two different ways. I look at them from being offline and being online. And I prefer to focus more on online-based competitors because that is the wave of the future. You need to have a very solid and strong digital footprint and platform, because no matter how many people know you, word of mouth can only go so far as maybe the area you operate in, but that's not going to get you business in another state, in another country, unless you have a really strong digital platform that might reach that far. There's the barriers of reaching more people is very low now. It's just about you now being very clear on what you do and what you sell and how you help people. And now you look at competitors that compete, and there are actually 5 types of competitors. But the two main ones are your direct and indirect competitors. The line that cracks me up a lot is when someone says to me, I don't have any competitors. Everybody has competitors. You just got to classify the competitors properly. There's 3 more competitors other than your direct and indirect. I'll throw out one more, which is a replacement competitor. So I'll explain what the replacement competitor is, so you'll get an idea of how you may not have competitors, but you do. And because this is the next step, I believe, in formulating a structure and looking at where you're weak and where you're strong, because you can't figure out where you're weak and where you're strong unless you know who your competition is. Okay, so let's do a direct competitor. You're a pizza shop, they're a pizza shop. You both satisfy the same need with the same product. Indirect competitor, you're a pizza shop, right down the street is a burger shop. They don't sell the same product, but they do satisfy the same need. So that's competition. Oh, well, I sell pizza, so I don't have competition. You do have competition because they may not be hungry for pizza. You have to convince them that pizza is the thing that will satisfy the hunger. So don't eat that hamburger, eat the pizza. So you still got to work that. Now, a replacement competitor is a grocery store Why would a grocery store be a competitor to you if you sell pizzas at a pizza shop? Because all of a sudden, dad comes home and goes, guess what, guys? We're going to do something as a family. And they're like, yeah, because it's pizza night. And he's going, yeah, but we're not going to order from the local pizza shop. I want to get more involved with this process tonight. And we're going to go to the store and we're going to buy the ingredients and make the pizza. You've just been replaced. Okay. So I'll give you another example. There was a friend of mine. She runs a company in the city, and she's got some very unique opportunities with some of the venues to bring her clients there for events. So she goes, I don't have any competition because I can get access to this venue, this venue, and this venue, and no one else has that venue. And I go, right, you don't have any. You may not have technically any competitors, but you do, because the end user may not want to go to a museum. They might want to go to see a live band. So now even though you have unique opportunities, they still don't have to give you their money, because to them it's entertainment. So you're competing with another entertainment entity, not someone who provides special occasions for an event. So at the end of the day, they might go, all right, I'll spend my money and go to this event sponsored by her organization, or I can just go out and watch a live band at the bitter end in Manhattan, downtown Manhattan. You just been replaced. So that's where you got to be really clear on, okay, once you know who they are, and then you want to analyze them online. There are tools that allow you to look at how well are they doing online. And I'm talking, do they have great SEO? Are they running any type of ad campaigns? Is their content strategy strong? Are they doing videos? How are people, or other big websites linking back to them? All these are things you can find out through certain tools that exist that give you a really great profile of what a business looks like and how a business is doing online. There are tools, there's ways you can look for signals offline, but online is extremely powerful, because you can immediately, without having to pick up a phone or talk to their customers or past clients, or spy on them by going to the store and seeing how they work with their customers, you can get a really good sense, without even getting out of your chair, how well they're doing or how well they're not doing, and where you fit in that whole process. And so these are things that eventually, now if you're doing a business plan, which I suggest everybody does, whether you're trying to raise money or not, when you do a business plan, all these things you have to find out information about, because then that gives you a better understanding of what business you're doing and how well you're doing, and what does the landscape look like, so you can, like you said, prepare to succeed. Like fail to plan to fail.
Yeah, no, excellent. And one thing that was key is you could be replaced by people you didn't think were your competitors. Absolutely. So, understanding your value proposition. So you can't just say, we have the best venue that nobody else has because of this. There's a lot of other things that could be different. They could go to the movie theater, they could go. So you have to also just show the value overall versus a lot of, the other spaces.
Yeah. And let me jump in that. And that's not to say that you're going to get all those people, or how am I going to get all those people? The more you're aware of it, the more that you can take advantage of. If something was to happen, you're already prepared, because you know of it. You're aware of it. It's the whole Blockbuster versus Netflix scenario all over again, where they just ignored all the signs on the planet, and they thought they would never tumble, and they did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also it brings out, the key element to marketing is your target market. So, people have a whole bunch of options. So who's most likely to choose your option? Mm-hmm. And focusing on them and not focusing on other people. And, I'm sure you'll get into it a little bit more, but, that's one of the most important decisions you can make. Mm-hmm. But having analysis is super helpful in making the right decision there. So, that's really what we're talking about, is planning, but also, but doing it really well. It's one thing to do something. It's another thing to do it well. And, that's what my business is, running your business like a pro so that you run it well. You're a leader in digital marketing. There's a million people out there saying they know how to do digital marketing, but a lot of times they just know a little bit more than you do. But there's some people that know a whole lot more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
And it's, and that's exactly it. There's always going to be someone better than you, and there's definitely going to be someone worse than you. But the key here is the uniqueness of you. Like you said, I say UVP and USP, unique value proposition, unique selling proposition. These two things come out of what we call a SWOT analysis. When you know where you're strong, where you're weak, where your threats and where your opportunities are. And now those data points that you start to look at from your competitors, and this is why it's so important to pick the right competitors. Because if you pick the right competitors, you're going to have a better strategy. If you pick the wrong competitors, you're enthusiastically going in the wrong direction.
So, and same thing with the target market. You're going to be working a lot harder for much worse results. So
exactly, and then when you're picking and I know you're talking about the target market, that all becomes part of it, because in order to understand your competitors, you need to know who the target audience is, because that plays a key component in understanding who your target your competitors are. Because if the competitor is not going after the same audience, then they're absolutely not even your competitor. So there's definitely a lot at play. But again, starting with you first, and then, and of course, definitely when I say you, part of that, if you're using a structure, you're going to have to touch on your target audience, but then who else is buying for them? Who do you think? And as you start to deep dive into looking at these competitors, you start to realize some of these guys are not really my competition, and you start to, and these tools that I use, SEM Rush, Href. These are some of the tools I'll use. When you optimize your website, or you understand the right keywords that you're targeting, and I know that's taking us down a whole nother rabbit hole. They'll give you the competitors that are doing well based on those keywords, and those keywords come from, what are you selling? What is your purpose? What is your mission? Because people are searching based on problems and goals, not your products or services. So when you have that big picture mentality, how do I actually help my customers? How exactly do I help my clients? And now you can start to piece things together and start to realize things that you before just didn't exist, or you just didn't know. Leverage data and let data help you solve these problems.
Okay. No, definitely. And the other piece is you're never going to get stuff 100% right the first time. So where the analysis comes in is you can't improve something if you can't measure it. And the analysis allows you to say, okay, this is good, but if you did this, this might be better. And continuing forward. So we'll talk more about that.
Let's touch on that real quick. Let me say something, because you got two type of businesses. You have one business that is doing well, and then you got a business that's just getting started. So some might say, well, I don't have the track record of this organization that's doing the same thing. They're doing their competitive analysis. They understand they're refining who their target audience is. I don't know any of that. So now, how do I get started? Well, I always say then, instead of looking at what competitors might be in your area, or what competitors are you in line with, who's the industry leaders? So I'll start for a newer organization with that, because then that becomes our benchmark. All right, if the industry leader is here, and I'm here, now all this here is learning. All this in between is, how can I learn as much from them? Because you can get that through data extraction, to figure out what's working for them, so you can at least get somewhat of a blueprint and start the process. But you're starting it based on what they've already invested. So basically, competitive analysis is really about leveraging other people's time, energy, sweat, and tears, and to save you time, energy, sweat, and tears.
Definitely doing that. And just one strategy for small businesses that almost never works, like 99%, is a low cost strategy.
Oh,
so if you want to compete on cost, that's a difficult thing for a small business.
Absolutely.
Because it really limits what you're going to do. So also when you're looking at competition, don't include that unless for some reason you are able to have a lower cost than someone larger. You know, if you're getting stuff for free and selling it and they have to pay for it, then yeah, maybe you could be on cost, but usually you're at a severe disadvantage if you go on cost. So
absolutely.
So that's cool. So what I want to do is take a quick break. We've been covering some great stuff, and I look forward to continuing to go into it in a little bit more detail, because I think this is extremely valuable stuff. We've gotten some good feedback, and great to have have people on. We got Karen out of Pittsburgh. We got Christine. We've got some people out of Jersey. Quite a few people. So I don't want to mess up names and other stuff, but thank you for being there. And if I didn't say your name, that doesn't mean we don't appreciate you being here. So definitely. So want to just share a couple things that I'm doing. And one of the big things I've been doing is writing and creating, valuable resources for people to learn more about business. So, everybody pretty much knows I've done Small Business Like a Pro, but I also did a companion workbook. And then after that, the Masterpreneur Playbook. And, if you're looking to take your business to the next level, that's a 5-step business growth plan that you can help you strategize and, incorporate some of the things that we're talking about here, as well as, other things from a higher level. But let me just show you a quick video, a little bit about what the Masterpreneur Playbook is all about, and then we'll be back to chat with Jimmy, and we'll continue talking small business.
The best sports teams have a proven playbook. Everyone should have one. We've got one for you, because there are so many things you need to know as a business owner. As a result, it is easy to get confused or stuck, since your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. It is also unnecessarily stressful, risky, and lonely when you're not confident in your decision. Many business owners work longer and harder for less money than if they had a job, because they are on the wrong path.
Break that cycle with the Masterpreneur Playbook, a 5-step business growth plan that addresses the challenges that business owners face going from working in their business to working on their business. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Masterpreneur Playbook for you. The Masterpreneur Playbook incorporates proven strategies for successfully growing your business that I discovered during my personal journey as a manager, executive, board member, investor, business coach, consultant, trainer, and small business owner. For example, the Masterpreneur Playbook helped Miani to go from working in her business to working on her business. She learned to analyze her financials, identifying opportunities to improve cash flow and run her business more effectively. She also put together a financing package that got her access to capital. In addition, she developed a strategic plan that got her team fired up and led to her business growing.
I had my first strategic planning meeting with my staff yesterday. I rolled out the plan that Andrew and I had developed. They were fired up. I was fired up. I was like, it's not just me with the mission. There's all of these people. We're all on the same page. Let's go, you know? So I felt really good about that.
Also, the Masterpreneur Playbook helped Paul to go from working on his business to working on the future of his business. Paul was able to restructure his organization, implement new processes and procedures, and create a strong leadership team, giving him the bandwidth to focus on planning for future growth opportunities.
I got to say, I'm glad I trusted you with your plan because and I like the plan, but we are, there's no guarantees, and it is a journey, but we're getting there, and we're making real solid progress. And I'm very pleased with where we are right now, where we're positioned, and where we're going.
Is there any reason you wouldn't want to accelerate the growth of your business, make more money, and have more free time? Of course you would. Don't hesitate. Visit www.svprou.com to download a complimentary copy of the Masterpreneur Playbook today. That's right. For a limited time, you can download a complimentary copy of the Masterpreneur Playbook at www.svprou.com.
Okay, welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Having a great conversation here with Jimmy. Just wanted to share a little bit about the books that I have. If you're interested to learn more, I put a link in the chat. But definitely key to really learn as much as you can and plan for the coming year. So, Jimmy, we've talked a little bit about what analysis is, how you do it. Can you give us an example? Maybe of, you've worked with a lot of clients, high level, how you sat that, how you started, how you went through the process, and, what the results were, a little bit about what people learn. Because I think, you hear this stuff, but, until hearing how someone went through the process, I think will be helpful. So, okay.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, when we can't do our job as professionals, when the business owner is not clear on who they are and really who they service, and understanding that target market, understanding that there's competitors. And what we end up having to do is especially when I was doing a lot of heavy marketing, is, I started to have to ask other questions, because no matter what I produce for you, if your foundation is shaky, everything I do on top of that could come crumbling down. So it either will work mediocre or it may not work at all. So when I first start working with a client for the first time, I always want to know a handful of things. And one of them is, what products and services do you sell? Who's your target audience? And the third thing is, who are your competitors? Because with that, I can actually, without even having another conversation with you, kind of come up with, because of course I'm going to go into research mode. And I already know your website. So I take what you given me and I take all these other elements that I asked for, and I start to put together a picture so I can see where you are, and I can see where your competition is, and I can see where you stand, and this could be very granular or it can be very broad, so depending on what your purpose and goal, what your goals are for, say, the quarter or for the year, then we decide what are we going to do based on this data that we have. So it also gives us the ability to understand what data is important. If the key is we're looking to generate more sales online, well, we're going to focus more on an online approach. If the issue is that we don't have enough business offline, and when we're losing foot traffic, well, we need to figure out this could be an offline strategy, but it could actually still be an online strategy. The question is, what tools do you have in place and that allow the business to function? What processes? A lot of what you said in the playbook is what we need to look at to go. You need an overall well-oiled machine, and now we need to take a look and go: is everything working perfectly? Prime example: I have a client that I've been working with for quite a few years, and they sell vending machines, and across the country and in South America, and we've helped them in a lot of areas, but I'm at one point I had them. They're doing about roughly, I say right now, they range between 20 and 40,000 hits a month to their website. Okay, so when you go into a website that sells vending machines, there's very little confusion about what they do and why you're there. You're probably there to look at vending machines, and you're probably looking to buy one. So I would not be on a vending machine website if I wasn't. So it's safe to say that a lot of people visiting the site are pretty targeted. Now, what happened was we realized I call a few times and I'm going, how's it going? We literally had to shut down a number of their campaigns because we did a great job of figuring out who our competitors were, analyzing what keywords were really working for them. And then we needed to create content to intercept that traffic and drive them to our site. So it was a content marketing strategy. And these guys are very old school. They're not big on digital marketing and all that stuff, but they understood that they kind of need to do it, because even though they're selling products that live offline in the real world, their online strategy is bringing them in more leads than they could ever possibly target by picking up the phone and cold calling and all this stuff, and even partnerships. So they're crushing it. But one thing that we realized is they weren't able to close a lot of sales, and they were losing a lot of opportunities. So at the end of the day, we ended up figuring out that their process for converting the leads into qualified sales prospects was broken. It was non-existent. So we had to figure out, how do we help them fix that? Now, that's not technically my job as a digital marketer, but as someone that's looking to help them grow, that's something we had to address. So here's an opportunity to figure out, we fixed the problem, we created a new problem. Now we had to fix that problem, and when you are understanding the structure of how a business is running, and you're able to look at the data and go, where's the disconnect? Why is this not working? We're seeing more leads than ever, but we're still not making a lot of sales. We could say they were bad leads. And I'm like, no, I don't think they're bad leads, because again, they're going to a website that sells vending machines. It's not a tabloid magazine where you're reading some stories and you're out, and we come down to the fact that the leads weren't being processed properly, so if we take a step back, we want to look at, the overall structure of the business, understanding what's supposed to happen. And as we understand what happens, then we can figure out what we need to do to make that work. I hope I answered your question on that. I may have rambled a little bit.
No, but that was an excellent example. And, it's always a journey, and it's a learning journey for you and your client. And you have to partner. So one question I have is, when you first start with someone, you have those three things you ask them.
Yes.
How often are those really the right answers that they give you?
Very seldom. And all right. So that's a good segue. So yeah. And that's where you got to understand what is really happening here. And this is where you might need to lean on a professional. And this is that exact point that you made, where this is where you might need to spend some money, and you need to spend the right type of money, because someone with lots of experience is going to look at a situation totally different than someone who doesn't. We can look and see the signs. So you got two choices. You either figure out, you learn how to do this and really learn how to do it, because it's a great skill to have, or you hire someone, you still learn how to do it to a degree, so you know what's going on, so you know that they are doing the right thing. So either way, you got to get your as the leader, you got to understand it to some degree, unless you've got someone under you that can understand it for you, and that's their job, is to make sure that it's being done properly. You know, but what we want to look at in this digital age is really having a tool. So if you had a tool like SEMrush or SEMrush or SpyFu, and I'm just throwing out a few, Uber Suggest, you can Google all of these. These tools will give you a lot of insight about your website, your digital footprint, and the digital footprint of potential competitors. Again, when you're putting in certain keywords, because everybody on it goes online when they have a problem to figure something out. If they're not asking a relative or a friend, they're going to go online. The majority of the people will, and there's a pattern to that. They call them trends. They're some things are seasonal, some things are just year round, but there is over the last 15, 20 years, there's patterns for pretty much any and everything that you can search. So immediately you have data, and without even going anywhere or doing anything, by using a tool like this to go, the keyword fast cars has a search volume of 500,000 searches a month. What does that mean for me? I sell fast cars. So I start there. And from that one keyword, I can determine competitors. I can determine demand. I can determine the industry leader. I can determine, if it's going up, if it's going down, and I can determine what to do about it. So and that's because I know this stuff. I've invested the time and energy to look at that and go, from this, I can make some decisions, and I can make some assumptions. Now I got to do a little bit more digging, and then I'll find the right competitors for them. I'll find the right keywords that they should really be targeting. And then, because when you start to find the right keywords, you find the right competitors, all of a sudden that you start to go, oh, let me change my language on my marketing, on my website, on my brochures, when I talk to customers, when my customer service team communicates with existing customers, and my sales teams talks to potential prospects that are leads that potentially can become clients. All this starts to have an interconnected, massive web effect based on those three little things that I need from you.
Yeah. So right now, people's brains are exploding. So we're going to have to walk it back a little bit. Okay. And number one, you said, oh, you could figure it out on your own. I'm a really smart guy, and I'm going to tell you can't figure it out on your own. But you need to learn enough so that you can hire the right person that you
absolutely. That's what I meant there.
Because you don't want to invest in anything you don't understand.
Right.
So, and you don't have to do it all at once, but you just got to understand there's a whole lot to it.
Well, here's another thing I can say to that, and that's where the competitors comes in, because you can look and see where competitors getting their traffic from. There's 5 sources of traffic for online. There's direct traffic, there's SEO, there's paid traffic, there's social media, and there's referral traffic. When you can see that a competitor is getting most of their traffic from referrals and paid ads, and you see that they're staying in business, you can pretty much say that could possibly work for you, and then you could bypass direct traffic, SEO, and something else, because you're leveraging the fact that those channels are working for them, they'll work for me. So now it gives you more direction to focus on something when you thought, oh, I need to be over here. Now that doesn't mean you don't go over there, because you might go, if they're not in social media and I'm good at social media and my team is good at social media, that's an opportunity. So you have to figure out which one makes more sense depending on a lot of factors, but more importantly, what are your goals? So one aspect may be, let's just go let's go in the same direction everybody's going because it's working and there's enough room for everybody to play, or I need a breakthrough moment. So let me try to figure out if I should go in the opposite direction, but I still need to find some data to go, how can I make sure that works?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so definitely. And even that might be exploding people's heads. So You do this all day, all the time. So keep that in mind. And, but I would say there's certain places that you can learn more. Because, one of the things marketing and selling is your most important job as a business owner. So you have to be continually learning more and more about marketing and selling.
Right.
And learn about digital marketing. And so that you can invest wisely, because you only have so much marketing money and you want to put it to work in the best ways possible. And it's really easy to waste money marketing. You could spend so much money doing the wrong things and bring in no business. Mm-hmm. So, and what Jimmy's talking about is this a long-term or short-term strategy? Am I going to get results tomorrow? How does it work? And also, you're talking about needing to do a strategy before you do anything. Yep. So talk a little bit about kind of what that, what to expect if you're going to be doing this marketing.
Let me just make sure I got that right. What you're asking. Are you talking about just so I can clarify? You're talking about at the very beginning. So I want to make sure I hit this right for you.
Okay, so I have a business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do digital marketing.
Okay.
I know I need to.
Okay.
If I hire you, are you going to get me a whole bunch of sales next month, or how does it work?
And that becomes a problem, because let's use that example. That example, if you don't have any digital structure at all, the worst thing you probably can do, unless it comes at an extremely high recommendation, want to just go out and start hiring somebody. What you want to do is you do need to experiment. You need to get yourself online. You need to, and let me backtrack that. You need to sign up for courses specifically for a specific type of service. Maybe you want to take a course or join a webinar that talks specifically about SEO, and then one about paid ad campaigns. Maybe one about optimizing your website. So you start to get used to the language. You start to get used to the flow, to the structure. Because from there, you're going to be able to have a better understanding of what looks good and what doesn't look good, what's right and what's wrong, what might work and what might not work, and then ask the right questions, because people can tell you a ton of different things. Anybody that tells you off the bat, yeah, I'll get you everything you're asking for, I would never say that. I'm good at this, and I would never say that. Why? Because I need to look under the hood of your business. If under the hood of your business is not well put together, again, what I could do for you may not work as well as if it did if you had everything together. So it's a partnership. You want to work with someone and get to know them. Maybe they'll give you a little bit of their time, up front. One thing I like to do with new clients is I'll have 2 or 3 calls with them before I even give them a contract, just so I can make sure that I'm giving them what they're looking for. I know I can possibly help them, and so you want to look for someone that might do that. Now, they're not going to advertise they're going to do that. It's just part of what they do when they bring on people. So you might ask, what is your onboarding process? How do you evaluate who you take on as a client? And then they'll tell you that, what's the process, and I'm telling you my process. My process is I really don't want to take on someone if they have unrealistic expectations, because it's only going to end bad for them and it's going to end bad for me, because they're not going to hire me back. Because sometimes this marketing play is a long-term game. You stop marketing, you stop getting leads, unless I'm not saying your word of mouth is not working, but if you want to expand beyond your own backyard, you need to start to leverage these digital strategies. And this again comes back to your competitors, Because if your competitors are doing it and you're not, you're going to start falling further and further behind. So you need to educate yourself. Educate yourself. The small business university platform is great to give you a well-rounded overview of different digital marketing strategies. Understand it a bit and play around with it. If you got nothing else, you got time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely learning is key. We've got a course from Jimmy on video, how to create the right video for your business, because video is key online, and there's ways to do it and ways not to do it. But also Jimmy's got something coming up, mini series on just what we're talking about. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. He's going to let you know. And actually, we have a link so you can even register now and be able to go and hear from him for free about, even more in depth about what we're talking about, and then some. But there's also some other people online that are good to learn from. So, there's a million people online telling you stuff, but, who should people listen to? If they want to learn more.
And that's subjectional. I mean, subjectional and to some degree objectional, but more subjectional. It's just some people like certain people's learning styles. Some people can be in your face, some people can be laid back. So, being able to be on a show like, be a part of a show like this one here, where you bring on a lot of different experts that, and most of them are, all of them are in the growth space to a degree for small businesses. Who do you gravitate to? Because obviously that speaker, that presenter is someone that is probably talking on a number of topics that you can really learn a lot from. And as you go deeper in, you're adopting this. The problem I see with a lot of small business owners is they close themselves off, and they work on their business and they don't come outside of that. And in today's world, you have to come outside of your business and break and get out of your comfort zone and start to learn these other things. There's a lot of opportunities out here today. And I'm talking about, and I'm just using it as an example, nothing against plumbers, but let's just say you're a plumber. You own a plumbing business, but all you want to do is fix toilets. But you need to jump on the line and find some training to make your plumbing business better, online. So you got to get outside that, really take advantage of that learning opportunity, and then go, oh, here's some ideas that I got from an expert. Maybe I'll try them, or maybe I'll hire him to do them or her to do them for me. But you're not going to figure out what's going on if you don't try. You don't get out there, and you don't, so figured out what expert to follow. There's a lot of experts out there.
Right. So, okay. So, definitely important to do that. So let's talk about your mini series. What is that? How can they learn about it? I'm going to put the link in the chat so people can see it. But tell us a little bit about, you have an initiative called Moving Forward Small Business.
Yep.
Really focused on, you mentioned before, helping over 1 million business owners. Yep. over several years. So talk a little bit about that, and then what you're doing as far as it, especially through the mini series.
Sure. So I'll do a little disclaimer. I'm a bit intense. If some of you might know me already, so I'm definitely intense because I love this stuff, and I go deep, and sometimes it can feel like you're drinking out of a water hose. But I do that for two reasons. I do that, one, because I've had many people go, if I knew it was going to be this tough, I wouldn't have started doing this, and I'm already this too deep in, and not with me, but just in general with the process, no matter whether with me or not. And so I'd rather give you the big picture and go, look, this is an ocean you're swimming in, but how do you swim in the ocean? One stroke at a time. So we still got to go, all right, now that we know this, where do we start? And that's where you got to be clear on what you're trying to do, so you can figure out what's the best opening strategy to do that. Again, moving forward, small business is all about strategy, innovation, and technology. So those three things have to come together. The strategy, of course, and Andrew, you mentioned it earlier, is really what you need to. You need to have a strategy every time you want to do something, whether it's big or small, because the strategy means that you thought about it and you've weighed some options and you made a decision. You know, it looks like sometimes I jump off the cliff. I had a strategy to jump off the cliff, and there was a strategy around that whole process. It just looked like I jumped off the cliff, but at the end of the day, I don't use my gut as much anymore. I always have to rely on data. Always have to rely on data, because even if you're wrong, the data you still have the data to go. All right, well, what went wrong, and how can I fix that, and how can I correct that? So you always have a compass to use. One thing I did, so as 2021 was ending, I was looking at, how I'm working with my clients and my customers, and I was also, again, I mentioned I'm actually going for funding. So I sat back and thought about what is the focus I need to focus on to be successful, to raise the money I want to raise, and also to hit the milestones that I want to hit in regards to the growth of the business, the amount of money I want the business to make, the amount of lives I want the business to impact. And all of that was really around, I need a very strong strategy. And that strategy is rooted in competitive analysis and competitive research and market research. So there's still a few points, but one of the key things I took out was, if you can do great competitive analysis and competitive research, all this other stuff is going to make more sense, and you're going to have a better structure to base everything else on, because you need, again, those competitors to figure out who's winning, because someone's winning and someone's losing. So I have this mini series that I created that's being sponsored by HREF called the Create Your Ultimate Business Strategy. Now, as Andrew said, there's a lot of moving parts. So I made it a 6-part series, because I'm doing a deep dive every week starting January 19th into very specific parts of doing a strategy. So you'll see it here if you scroll down. You can, So January 19th, I'm going to do an overview of competitive research, analysis, and strategy overview. So it'll be more, you can sit back and relax. I'm going to go a little deep, but it's more of an overview and a strategy. The second one is identify your top 5 competitors. So we're deep diving into how do we figure out who our competitors are based on 5 categories. And you need to have at least 2 to 3 in each one of these categories. So these are workshops. This is not talking head. So I'm going from my slide to the computer and showing you how I do this. So if you want to, Andrew's going, well, how do we do it? This series is showing you how. Number 3 is we analyze our competitors' products, distribution, and sales strategies. There are ways that you can do that. You're using very specific tools. Some tools are free. So that's exciting. So that means you don't have to come out of pocket with this tool. And some tools you can get through some of the services that exist offline, like the New York City Public Library. And then on February 19th, we're going to look at your competitors' content marketing strategy. So you're going to be able to look and go, how are they generating revenue? Because your business, your website can only generate so much traffic on your products, your products and your services. You need more content. So what does that content structure look like? Because that content structure, AKA blogs and articles, is what's going to start to increase. That's how we got one of our clients up to 20 to 40,000 hits a month, not because of their products and services, but of the other content we have to create. Then on February 16th, we're going to do a step-by-step completion of a SWOT analysis, which will help you determine your unique value proposition and your unique selling proposition. So now you're starting to create this overall blueprint, and you'll be able to go back and visit all this stuff. And then the final one is actually not a presentation, but a panel. So I'm going to bring on about 2 or 3 more experts in the competitive research and analysis field to kind of give you their insight. And it's being hosted on a different platform, which allows you to network with other people that have been attending the other 5. Now, and the beauty of that is, even though a lot of it is going to be focused around digital, we still have to focus on, actual interaction with individuals offline, but in this process it's online, but it feels like it's offline. So you're having real conversations with peers, which give you an opportunity to connect with others that have the same mindset, and also might be a good partnership for you. So that is the create the ultimate business strategy. And we put this together because I wasn't going to do anything like this big until the middle of the, at least at the end of first quarter, like somewhere around April. But we realized that this would be a great opportunity to get people off the ground right by understanding truly who their competitors are and building a strategy around that, and then leveraging that to help them see success for the rest of the year.
This is going to be an outstanding program, and definitely excited about it. I'm going, and I'm sure I'll be learning a lot as well, even though I've been investing time in learning about it. So I encourage you to check it out. Definitely, that's another way to learn more from Jimmy. Another way that you can learn more is we're actually our Power Breakfast on January 28th. Due to the coronavirus spike, we're going to actually bring it digitally to you. So those of you who aren't in New Jersey, this is an opportunity to participate. And Jimmy's going to be one of the featured speakers, and he's also going to lead a panel discussion on the digital media and marketing. So, we're a little over, but, what I want to do is have, usually I have the guests just take 3 takeaways. What are the 3 things that people should take away from this? Because, a lot of times you hear stuff, you only retain 30% of what you heard. So we want to reiterate, what are some of the key things that, that they should take away and things that they can implement easily. Take a second. I'm just going to show a quick video on the Power Breakfast for those of you who haven't been here. And then we'll come back and Jimmy's going to really boil it down to 3 things that you can take tonight and start doing for your business. If you are looking to increase revenues, improve profitability. All right, let's try. If you are looking to increase revenues. All right. Well, I guess this one's not playing, but January 28th is the Power Breakfast. It's going to be really great. It's going to be virtual, so wherever you are, you can participate, and we'll have great speakers and topics, and check us out. But Jimmy, what should people be taking away from what we're doing today?
Sure. I think the 3 things. One is understanding, be able to list at least 3 competitors, 3 really strong competitors, and do it and do some homework on them. Go to their website and see how their, what their process is. Go through their website. So really take notes on each one, see where they're better than you and see where they're not as good as you. So that would be the first thing. Figure that out. 2, really determine, based on your products or your services you sell, come up with 3 great keywords that you would like to rank for. And then if you put that keyword into Google, see what pops up, because that's going to give you an opportunity to see who you're competing against. So you want to be a little bit more specific. So don't just say shoes, you might say women's shoes or women low cut shoes, or if you're a service business, digital marketing services in Seattle. See who comes up, because that could actually give you an opportunity to see some more competitors. So you're doing a combination of looking for competitors and keywords. And third, finally, is just, make a list, and maybe once a week, make sure you're on some type of program where you're learning more about things that you think are important, especially in the digital marketing world, that you might want to leverage or bring on someone to do. So you start to familiarize yourself with the process a little bit and understand the lingo and what really happens in the digital marketing world. Okay, excellent. So those are great places to start. Thank everybody for joining us. You've got your homework for tonight, and we look forward to hearing about some great results, or at least some beginning the process and understanding over the next week.
definitely, Jimmy, it's always a pleasure. We need like 8 hours, and it's still not enough time. So, but it's always good to do that. I'm glad that you're doing the seminar. Encourage everyone to check it out, because even if you're, Jimmy's a master at this stuff, and he comes at it as a digital marketer, but even first, he comes at it as a business person. And you're not doing digital marketing to do digital marketing. You're doing digital marketing to make more money and make your business more successful. So you need to have the combination of those two things if it's going to work successfully. So always great insights. We'll check you out there. Look forward to having you on the Power Breakfast, and hang in for a second, and I'll close things out. But thanks again, Jimmy, for joining us. Like to thank everybody in the office, in not the office, but on the live stream. And also thank you all for your feedback. Definitely, hey, Shamus from Pittsburgh, definitely looking forward to that. So each week we come to you 8 p.m. Eastern time with a new guest, a new topic. Definitely focusing on ways you can grow your business throughout the month of January, and look forward to catching you next week. So, at the end of the day, as a business owner, it's important to always remember that the more you know, the faster you're going to grow. And that's what we're here about tonight.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.